How to get your personality back after being insecure for so long. Here's the problem. You haven't been given the space to be yourself. Maybe you've had friends that made fun of you, or parents that told you to do this and get this career and study this degree, teachers that praise you for your good grades but never your creativity. You've had to fit into the mold of who everyone else wanted you to be. Then sprinkle in some childhood trauma, some self-doubt, a fear of saying no and disappointing people. No wonder you don't know who you are and what you stand for. No wonder you find yourself questioning like what even your personality is, who you even are, because you've not been given the space to even figure out who you are yet. So that's the problem. But what are we going to do about it? Make people feel something either way. I learned this in a book. It's called Diary of a CEO. It's from a popular podcast, which I've met the guy, by the way. I met him like a few years ago, way before the podcast blew up. In the book, he was talking about, it was a business thing. He was talking about in business, you need to make people feel something either way, which basically means if you're running like an advert as a brand and you're going to put it on TV, don't make it super safe and make it super like PG and family friendly and like, you know, you need to have an opinion and stand for something. You don't want to sit on the fence. If it's on the fence and it's just kind of there, it's very mediocre, people are going to forget about it, and that's just like you need to make people feel something either way. When you've got an opinion or you're in a conversation and you feel really passionate about it, like, don't suppress it. Make people feel something either way. Don't be scared to state your opinion, even if it means people are going to disagree. Being afraid of people disagreeing with you is such a powerful thing, because that's what stops you from having a personality. I'll say it again. Being afraid of people disagreeing with you stops you from having a personality. Once you conquer that, you will be unstoppable. I used to sit on the fence a lot, give an opinion that was kind of like, oh yeah, I like this thing, but I also, you know, it's totally fine if you don't like it. Like, I totally get that as well. Like, I was such a people pleaser. I'd sit on the fence with everything, never really state my opinion in a really honest, authentic way. I'd always sugarcoat it. Having an opinion is like having a voice. If you don't have one, we can't hear you. If you feel like there's a lot of things that you don't have an opinion on, start to get one. Honestly, you do. I feel like a lot of the things in the past, I was like, I don't even know what to think. Like, I don't even know. And I heard Charlie D'Amelio talking about this in a podcast where she was saying she kind of didn't really have a childhood. She didn't really have time to develop her opinions, and she was saying like, I don't know to all these questions, and it's because she literally didn't know who she was. It's helpful to know that if you're in the I don't know era of your life, that you're probably just suppressing your personality a bit, and it's not even your fault. It's just because of literally like everyone around you. Like, you've been too scared to speak up because people around you didn't make you feel safe speaking up. And that's the thing that kept me from speaking up for a long time, sharing my opinion and just being brutal about it. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen if I do speak up. I don't know what's going to happen if I say something offensive. If I say no to someone, like, I just have to say yes all the time. And then one day maybe it's after this video, I hope it is, you'll speak up, you'll say no to someone, you'll say something that someone's going to disagree with, and you'll realize you're not gonna die. And it's so fantastic when that happens, because once you've done it once, you can do it again, and you can do it again, and you can do it again. And that is how, ladies and gentlemen, you build your personality. But back to my main point, having an opinion is like having a voice. If you don't have one, we can't hear you. You literally, to be heard, to be remembered, which I'm sure is what you want. Being heard is such a powerful thing because it makes you feel so safe. Like, sometimes when you're in conversation with someone, or talking to a family member, talking to a friend, talking to a boyfriend, and you don't feel heard, you don't feel seen, that's really, really tough and really painful. But part of that is having an opinion and really standing for something. You don't want to sit on the fence because that's so forgettable. You really want to sit on either side and make people feel something either way. Your silence will not protect you from judgment or criticism. It's so easy to fall into the trap of not saying anything and not speaking up, like keeping quiet, being like a mouse and just being as mute as possible, because it makes you feel safe. Like, oh, I'm protected. I'm not gonna be offended. I'm not gonna be told off. I'm not gonna be criticized by anyone. No one's gonna judge me. Like, oh, it feels safe. It feels like the right thing to do, to like block yourself and like cover up who you are completely, make yourself invisible. But that does not work. You will still feel insecure. You will still be judged. I promise you. It's such a lie. It's such a lie that if you be quiet, you'll not be judged. It's such a lie that if you be quiet, you'll not be criticized. You absolutely will. Something that's quite sad, that I think is the reason why I did this and why I was super quiet and scared to be myself, scared to speak up, is because I didn't think that my opinion was valuable. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because I didn't think my opinion was valuable because no one really validated my opinions on what I had to say. I never got reassurance on like, oh my god, good idea, or that's a crappy idea, why did you even say that? Like, I never got either of those, so I just kept quiet. And then because I kept quiet, I never got either of those. And then because I never got either of those, I kept quiet. And it's just like, you won't know, and you won't have your feelings validated if you don't speak up. Making yourself small doesn't serve your higher self. If you've spent any amount of time on Pinterest, I'm sure you've seen that quote where it's like, visualize your higher self and start showing up as her. Love that quote, love that picture. It's being a bit rinsed now because all of it Instagram as well. None of that is overnight. Literally none of that is overnight. Like when I look back and think to 3-4 years ago when I was like super insecure, super shy, and now when I'm literally the opposite, I don't think none of it was overnight, but it was just like realizing little things and like picking up on like, oh my god, I do that because of my upbringing, and like I am scared to say my opinion because no one ever validated my opinion. It's just like realizing little things, and then once you know, none of it is hidden anymore. I feel like so much of the reason why you're insecure is in the dark, and you don't know why you do what you do, and you don't know what you don't know. But then once you do know, then you can conquer it. Making yourself small feels like the best option for you right now, but it's not the best option for who you want to be. Like if you've got any idea of who you want to be when you grow up, what sort of person you want to be, what they're doing, I'm sure none of it involves like hiding who you are and making yourself small. Getting into the habit of saying as little as possible, like taking up no space in a conversation, like rehearsing what you're going to say so it's super short and concise, and then saying it and then like zipping your lips again. Like none of that serves your higher self. It's so tough with like this sort of world of trying to improve who you are to like not be too hard on yourself, because once you learn all these things, sometimes you might put pressure on like, oh, I'm so like, why did I do that? Like it's my fault the way that I am, it's my fault I don't have a personality, it's my fault that I'm not super confident in like who I want to be yet. But that's not how it works. Like everything that's happened is a requirement for you to get there. It's kind of like if you're watching a movie, like your favorite movie. My favorite movie I think is Shawshank Redemption. It's like quite an old movie, but I love that movie. And if not Shawshank Redemption, probably Moonlight, the one that didn't win an Oscar but then did because they messed up the results. Anyway, your favorite movie has to have moments that are a little bit slow or a little bit boring, or like, what is going on, why did that even happen? It has to have moments that you don't realize are important for then it all to click later on. Like you might be having a rough time now because you feel super insecure and super low. You can't be yourself. You literally just want to escape your insecurities and just break out and break free. But those moments, as tough as they were kind of requirements for the bigger picture. Like you don't know the end of your movie yet. You don't know the end of your movie yet, but all of these moments are absolutely essential to make it the best possible movie eventually. Speaking of your higher self, I'm a big believer in small steps. Honestly, you don't put pressure on yourself to make big leaps towards where you want to be, because that requires a lot of energy, and it's also like really exhausting to kind of like psych yourself up to do something major. I'm a big believer in small steps. Like do something tiny that is a step closer to who you want to be and a step further away from who you are right now. Or small step, if you do that regularly, honestly you will be a different person. It's going to be a transformation that you are not prepared for. Start swearing. I don't know if anyone's like me. I was so scared to swear. Like in school, I was an only child, I didn't have any siblings or anything, just me and my mum, because my mum and dad are separated. But I was super scared to just swear. I don't know why, but I think I was such a good kid in school, got really good grades, did everything the teachers wanted. I was a star pupil. I was really good at sports as well. I wanted to do medicine. I just thought I'll get good grades, I'll put my head down, that's going to be me. And I thought any sort of personality, expressing myself, being myself, swearing, like going off one, I just thought I can't do that. I just thought I've got an identity of who I am. I need to stay in that identity. I need to stay in my lane. But that was the old me, and now I don't give a fuck. You need to be yourself. Express yourself. I promise you it's worth it. I don't know who needs to hear this, but stop smiling. Being nice isn't a personality trait. It's being nice, honestly, is just like the it thing for any people pleaser. Like that's the goal, like just to be nice, be smiley, be super happy. Like anytime someone walks past you, anytime someone is rude to you or mean to you, like stop being nice to everyone. It's not a personality trait. It's the goal when you're a people pleaser, but it's not the goal when you're someone who's confident in yourself. My goal now isn't to be nice to everyone. My goal is to be myself. Like when you're a people pleaser, you forget that you've put everyone else above you. Like you're not priority on the list. It's literally not your job to be nice to everyone. It feels like the safe and best thing to do because it's like everyone will like me if I'm nice. It's so weird. That's not how it works. I'm sure you've been screwed over a good few times being nice and being polite to people, but it's not how it works. Being nice won't always get what you want. It's actually in the opposite. Like being selfish will get what you want. And I don't mean that in a horrible way, like taking advantage. I mean being selfish, like putting yourself first, doing what you want, prioritizing time for you and saying no to other people and just spending time with yourself. Being selfish can also create confidence as well, because it means you spend more time with yourself and you value yourself more. Sometimes you're a people pleaser and you do everything for everyone else because you don't value yourself. You think other people are more important. And sometimes when you can actually be a bit more selfish, do what you want, spend time on your own, you value yourself more. And I think stopping smiling can help with that, because that feels like that feels like, I don't know, a badge of honor as a people pleaser. Like, I smile at everyone as they walk past, like I'm always so smiley. Like, that is not a substitute for a personality. Like, I promise you, if you don't smile at everyone that walks past, you will be fine. You're not going to be a bitch because of it. It sounds ridiculous to say it, but that used to be me, just smiling at everyone walking down the street like this. Start thinking about yourself a lot more and start thinking about everyone else a lot less. It's such a sweet thing to do. I used to do it. It's such a sweet, and I still do it now. I still do it now if I'm in a good mood, or if I'm in a bad mood and I feel like, let me spread some love, let me smile at everyone. But stop smiling at stop thinking about other people way more than you think about yourself. Being selfish is a really good thing if you're the sort of person that feels like you don't have a personality. Having a personality requires an element of selfishness, because what else are you going to form the personality around other than yourself? You have to think about yourself. You have to prioritize yourself. You have to do things for yourself. Like, you have to put yourself first to an extent. Don't sugarcoat things. This was my favorite hobby as a people pleaser, like sugarcoating everything. Like, nothing was ever brutal or honest or like cutthroat. Everything was sugar-coated. Why, you may ask? Because I was scared to offend people. I was scared to say things honestly, authentically, brutally, because I was scared of like people getting upset, getting offended. But that is a reality of life. Being a people pleaser, sometimes you are trying to escape the realities of life. People won't like you. It's just a reality. You will offend people. It's just a reality. No amount of sugarcoating or smiling at people and being nice will stop reality from happening. And sometimes that perspective helps. Like, it's just reality. It's just life. Like, people aren't going to like you. People will disagree with you. You're going to offend someone. You're going to upset someone. And that's life. Like, you couldn't stop it happening even if you tried. Yeah, it's weird because you're trying so much to stop it from happening. You're doing so much, changing yourself, being quiet, silencing yourself to stop this thing from happening. But it's going to happen anyway. It makes you think that the effort that you're putting into all those things is a little bit futile, because if you can't stop it from happening, why are you even trying to fight against it? Why are you trying so much not to offend someone if it was going to happen anyway? Last point, you only become the person that you want to be when you decide who you want to be. You can live your life by default and just go with the flow. There's a time and a place for going with the flow, don't get me wrong, but you can also live your life by design. Like, a large part of the reason why I couldn't step out of who I was is because I hadn't created a new identity for myself. I think if you're too scared to be who you want to be, it would help to just like outline it. Like, honestly, it sounds so silly, but in your notepad app on your phone, literally make a list of who you want to be. Like, what are the personality traits? Like, what is she like? What is he like? What does your ideal person even say? Like, what are their like sort of catchphrases? Because then once you've got it onto paper, got it on your phone, you can go back to it if you want, and like, you've got it in like concrete, like tangible things. You know who they are. Like, you can revisit that if you want to. It's no longer a mystery. It's no longer that I don't know. Like, you now know who you want to be, and you can take little steps into stepping into who they are. I'll finish off with this. Being selfish is a good thing. You can't be yourself if you don't prioritize yourself.